I'll do a quick audio test. Can you guys hear me?
Sure can.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
I asked Brittany if she sold any candles today.
We actually back ordered on grapefruit candles, so we're making some more grapefruit today.
All right. Awesome.
Nice. Then the daily boot line, can you guys hear me okay?
Whoever that is, your audio is really bad. I think that was you, Andy, wasn't it?
Let's try this again.
It's not really any better, Andy.
I'm gonna leave and come back on.
Okay. Okay.
Brittany, I'm looking forward to trying your lavender candle.
Oh my gosh, yes, our lavender. So we have a candle called Lavender Mill. It is so good. It's actually like one of our top 5 since we launched it last year. I love it when we make it because you can just smell it in the office and everything.
Or I've got your clean cotton one at home. I like it too.
Okay, this is Andy Gutwein. Can anybody hear me better now, I hope?
Loud and clear.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Hi, Heather.
How you doing, Dennis?
Good.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Great.
Got Cindy.
Here we go. Sorry.
Problem.
My portable camera.
Got the 2 Daves.
Hello.
Hey, Dennis, is there any way you could call my cell phone real quick?
Yeah, what's your number real quick?
426-9261.
So we'll talk about this stuff tomorrow. I don't remember what's on my calendar right this moment, but I don't think tomorrow morning is too busy.
Okay, everybody, we are live streaming and we're going to start off with the Economic Development Commission meeting, and it is 1 o'clock. So we're going to start.
This conference is no longer being recorded. This conference will now be recorded.
Here we go. So the Economic Development Commission meeting can start now.
Okay, thank you. This is Dave Baith. I'd like to open the meeting of the Economic Development Council on this day, March 31st, 2021. And I believe our first act is to propose a slate for the election. And I would like to propose the following slate. Mr. Snyder for president, Mr. Walker for vice president, and Mr. Zimmerman to remain as secretary.
I'll second that.
Do we have any comments? With that, I'd ask that we take a vote. All those who say aye or aye as the positive.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Thank you. Same sign for negative.
Mr. Bates, real quick, because we're doing a virtual meeting, one of the rules that are required is that everything's done by a roll call vote. So if you could ask for a roll call vote instead of a voice vote, that would be great.
Thank you. I will do that. Could we therefore do that? We'll begin with Mr. Zimmerman.
Dave Zimmerman.
And that's I assume?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Walker? Ms. Hamilton?
Aye.
Mr. Snyder?
Aye.
I will also vote aye. Did I miss anyone? That being said, the motion was seconded and approved. We will move forward with the meetings at this point.
Thank you, Chancellor. I humbly accept the nomination and this monumentous occasion. First order of business would be to approve our meeting minutes of May 21st, 2020. So I'll take a minute and digest that information, and I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Dave Zimmerman, motion for approval for the minutes.
Dave Bates, second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Dave Zimmerman, aye.
Jody Hamilton, aye.
Steve Snyder, aye. Motion passed. Anybody against, same sign? Hearing none, the meeting minutes have been approved. At this time, I believe we need to close this meeting. Counselor, is that correct? To open for public comment?
That is correct.
Do I need a motion to do that, or can we just do it?
Yeah, if you can do a motion to close the meeting and open the public hearing, that would be fantastic.
I'll entertain a motion to close the meeting.
This is Dave Bates. I will motion we close this and move to the public hearing.
Is there a second?
Dave Zimmerman, second.
Motion is second. Hearing any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Hamilton, aye.
Dave Bates, aye.
Steve Snyder, aye. All right. At this time, do we need a motion to open for public comment? Is that correct procedure?
Chancellor Bates' motion covered both of it, so we're good to go on the public hearing.
All right. So let's move forward on the public hearing for the EDC resolution number 2021-01 for public comment.
At this point, I'd like for Heather James to give an explanation of the resolution, and then I'm going to turn it over to Andy Gutwein to actually have him present the project.
Thanks, Dennis. Okay, so this resolution makes the necessary statutory findings regarding economic development and jobs, and it also describes the refunding of the outstanding obligations. The other thing it does is approves the substantially final form of bond documents, which includes the trust indenture, which is the document that lays out the flow of funds and the agreement between the city and the trustee and the use of bond proceeds, the financing agreement with the developer that includes all of the necessary covenants, and the bond purchase agreement with the bond purchaser. So once the EDC takes action on this resolution after the public hearing, then we would move forward with the council. And the council is anticipated to meet on April 5th. Council's already introduced the bond ordinance, so this would be their opportunity to adopt that bond ordinance. The other thing the resolution before you today does is approves the project report, describes the project that Andy will discuss in just a moment, and that will be sent to the Plan Commission, assuming you choose to move forward with approval of that resolution today.
Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Andy so he can make a presentation. So Andy, I'm going to make you a presenter now. And you should be able to be a presenter.
Okay, thank you, Dennis. I'm working on, there we go. Okay. Thanks everyone for your time today. I'll walk through a brief presentation I have just to give you some background and an overview of the project that we have planned. And I think everyone's familiar with the location. Here you can see in an overview the purple outline outlines the parking lot area. Locally, most of us would know it as the parking lot directly across from the Lafayette Brewing Company. It's on Main Street between 6th and 7th. And so that's the aerial. Just to give you some perspective, if you go back in time a little more than 50 years, this is probably about 70 or 80 years ago, this photograph. You can see that you can see the Lafayette Theater on your left, and you can see the across the street in the area where this parking lot sits today was full of various downtown buildings. The Lunar Theater was located at 631 Main, which is kind of in the middle of what's the parking lot now, and it was one of the last buildings remaining on this lot. The buildings adjacent to this had been demolished at different points in time, but about 50 years ago, the Luna was destroyed by a fire and subsequently torn down. So since 1970, we've had this gap on Main Street. I've been working in downtown Lafayette for a little over 25 years now, and ever since I've been here, I've heard talk about how we need to have continuous storefronts to encourage pedestrian flow, and I've heard about this gap between Upper Main and Lower Main. And this parking lot has stood for 50 years for a couple of reasons. One of which was the fact that Valley Oaks, which occupies the building adjacent to the Lafayette Theater, 610 Main Street, across the street from this parking lot, they needed the lot, and they've used the lot for the services they provide from their downtown location. The other reason was the Pearl River ran underneath this lot, right through the middle of it, and it created an impediment to any future any redevelopment of that site. But the city has taken on the project of relocating the Pearl River, not only from this site, but from some city-owned property as well, to open up the doors for development. So the time has arrived. And what we're introducing on this property is the Luna Flats. And the name is, why we chose Luna is to pay homage to the Lunar Theater. The Luna, as you probably would guess, is it's the Latin term for the Earth's moon. It also refers to a goddess, which was an ancient Roman personification of the moon. So we thought we'd play up the history of the site and have some fun with the name. This site brings a lot of challenges. We have access, the Long Center, to the rear of the Long Center, where all the loading and unloading for different acts, whether it be semis, tour buses, box trucks, all of that happens from the back of the Long Center and crosses over this property. There's an access easement that crosses this property for the benefit of the Long Center. And in order to utilize the property, we had to elevate the rear portion of the building and leave a drive area, again, tall enough for semis and tour buses to come through there. We had a lot of coordination with relocating the utilities, as I mentioned earlier, with the Pearl River. We had compliance with the Historic Commission requirements, which were stringent, but helpful to making sure that we build something here that fits the downtown that we're a part of. And then, of course, parking and the premium of space. It makes it necessary to create an underground parking area in order to accommodate the number of units that are needed to spread the land and development costs for the site. In general, we've had some other challenges. COVID, what else do we need to say? Hopefully we're through the worst of that. And then construction costs, as probably most of you are familiar, are at historic highs. So that certainly adds to challenges with the site. looking at that same vantage point from the corner where the Lafayette Theater is located, this is a rendering of what the project will look like. So you can see Kathy's Candies, which unfortunately Kathy retired, and so Kathy's Candies is no longer, but the building's still there. So as a place marker, I think that's helpful for you. And then you can see the new building, which appears as really 4 separate facades, but it is one building. And then at the far end, you can see the Frontier phone company building that's existing there. This is a elevation from the opposite direction. You can see the courthouse in the distance, the dome of the courthouse, that is. You can see the Frontier building at the foreground of the picture, and then just see the building from another angle. Some of the highlights will be 98 apartment units, 4 studios, 51 one-beds, and 43 two-beds. We'll have 112 parking spaces. Really, all of them will be covered. 68 will be below ground, and then 41 will be surface spots, but they will all be covered because the building will have an elevated area underneath for parking. We'll have about 10,000 square feet of retail space facing Main Street. We'll expect anywhere between 3 and 5 tenants, depending on the mix that we get there. We're looking for restaurants, coffee shops, and other traditional retail or office users. We'd love to see a small grocery store. That might still be a dream, but we'll see. We really haven't actively pursued any retail leads at this point. We have had some people contact us with interest, but we haven't solidified anything or really progressed anything there at this point. But the project is becoming a reality, and we'll begin to pursue those leads in the near term. The building amenities, the idea is to create an upscale with what I would refer to as a classic modern finish. So, the classic piece to pay tribute to the fact that it is in this downtown historic district, and we want to, even the name pays homage to the theater. We want to try to keep some connectivity to the history, but yet give it a modern feel. We'll have a hotel style mail and lounge lobby on Main Street, which really just means it's not a hallway to enter your apartment building. You've got a little bit more of a lobby, true lobby feel that has some furniture and areas to sit for the apartments. We'll have a bike room for secure bike storage. We'll have elevator lobbies on each floor with some furnishings to give it an upscale feel. We'll have a fitness room on the 2nd floor of the building, along with a rooftop dog walking area. So if people have their dogs and it's late and they don't want to go out down the street, they can take it to the 2nd floor rooftop area and a secure area. We'll have a rooftop patio, which will be pretty exciting, and I'll show you some images of that later. And again, I mentioned all covered parking. We use keyless entry for the units, so people don't have to keep track of extra keys. Our primary market would be to young professionals and empty nesters. Essentially, this is a great community with affordable housing for people that want to raise their families and have yards, and that's awesome. But we're looking for the people that are on either end of that market that just don't have the kids at this point in their lives and are looking for a fun place to stay. These are some elevations of the building just to give a little better flavor. I mentioned the long center access earlier, and in the upper left photo, you can see the opening, if you will, that's carved in there, which indicates long center semi-access. Upper right, you can see the view that you would see if you were looking. You can see the long center there on 6th Street and the edge of the Kathy's Candies building. You can see then on the bottom the 2 views from Main Street. Hopefully that gives people a little bit of perspective. this just walks through. I'll go through these rather quickly. The overview of the lower level parking. This would be the first floor, again with some parking, and then all the retail space along Main Street. You can see the ramp that will go down into the lower level parking. The lobby for the apartments here with the elevators and bicycle storage. This would be floor 2. You can see down here. You can see down at the bottom, which would be the south end. The bottom, there's units that aren't there, and those units were taken out in order to accommodate the semi-access for the Long Center. But you can see the green roof patio. That'll be the area that will be open for people to walk their pets. The fitness area, and then the other areas that are open between the units will be covered with a roof, so that all the parking underground, all the parking is covered. And then the units or floors 3, 4, and 5, you can see here where the units do continue all the way to the south. This is the roof plan. You can see along Main Street, there's a roof patio that faces Main, and it also faces west. And so it's a fairly large, I think I have another, yes. It's a fairly large area that will accommodate a nice number of guests, and it'll be open only to residents, I should point out, and their guests. But again, it's a fairly large area, so it should accommodate a good number of people without feeling crowded. And I think my last slide is this, which is just a sample to give an idea of the interior finishes. Again, it's in that classic modern sense. We've got a herringbone luxury vinyl tile, wood grain flooring in the main area. We've got a ceramic tile in the bathrooms that has a little bit of a historic feel to it, and then we've got a painted gray cabinet that's sort of a contemporary style to blend well. So I'd be happy to answer any questions or look back at any of the slides anyone would like to look at.
I've got a quick question, Steve Snyder here. Have you started leasing any of the apartments yet, or is it still too soon?
It's still too soon. If you want me to get you on the waiting list, I will. But we have not started yet. We expect occupancy in June of 2022.
Thank you.
And this is Dave Bathe, Andy. I love the historical facade. I think that's you've done quite well with that to give the look and appearance of several different buildings, but also to fit into that classic style. I have a little bit of a question about the fitness room. That I assume isn't outsourced, but be part of the opportunity for anybody to utilize that's a tenant.
That's correct. It would be a feature just for really designed just for the building residents.
Okay, thank you.
It wouldn't be an open, yeah.
Oh, sorry. I also appreciate the dog walking. As somebody who's almost I almost have an empty nest. Sooner than later, I hope. I have a dog, and that's always a challenge. So I might call you when it gets built about getting me on the list. So thank you very much.
Good.
Appreciate your answers.
Is there any more public comment?
I do have a couple things here. Just one point of clarification. That's probably for you, Heather. This resolution doesn't have anything to do with the bond refundings, correct? That we're doing as well.
Well, I mean, it describes them. It describes the refundings.
Okay. So I think maybe you and Jason ought to explain a little bit the 3 bonds that we're refinancing, and then Andy's is a new bond for his project, and this is all being done in one large bond. So, maybe particularly Jason, if you could break that down a little bit for the commission.
Sure, Dennis. This is a Jason Simler with a Baker Tilly. As the project was described, we're using similar to what you've done for the last couple of projects. Starter Crossing, Nova project, Ellsworth, where we're taking the additional taxes, the new taxes that are being generated from the new development that was just described, and then using part of that as an incentive to help fund a portion of the project. So based upon preliminary estimates, we're looking at the annual taxes to be around $310,000, which the developer has agreed to have a minimum tax payment of that each year. Could be higher, but it'll never fall below that amount. So based upon a percentage of that, we're providing an incentive of about $3,660,000 that would help fund a portion of the project. And that is a combination of the amount of property taxes that we anticipate to be generated from the new facility, and then also the tax rate on the bonds. So that annual payment for that incentive is less than the $300,000 that he'll be paying in property taxes. And the interest rate that we're able to obtain on the bonds was 2.68%. That's a taxable rate, which is phenomenal right now. So as we were aware that we got that tax rate, we looked at some of your outstanding bonds through the Redevelopment Commission and realized that there is an opportunity to refinance 3 bonds. Refinancing, think of it as the same way as you're refinancing your mortgage. You're kind of refinancing it to reduce the interest rate and reduce the annual interest that you're paying over the life of those bonds or your mortgage in case of your home. So we looked at the 3 bonds that we're looking at refinancing at the same time. Since we're going through the process of this bonding through this project, you're really not incurring any additional, professional fees or issuance costs because we're having to go through this process anyway. So we looked at the 2015 bonds, the Dillon project. It had tax rates or interest rates about 3.8%. The Star Crossing bonds that were issued in 2019, they had taxable interest rates of 5.39%. And the Nova Tower project bonds issued last year in 2020, those had interest rates of 4%. So we're combining all those that had different interest rates with this new project into one bond issue at 2.68%. So not only are we able to fund this new project, but we're able to refinance those 3 projects and save about $90,000 a year in interest. And then what you're approving today is not only funding the new project, but also the refinancing of these 3 outstanding bonds.
Jason, that helps. Appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Any more public comment before we move on? Hearing none, I suppose we need to close the public hearing. Is that correct, Counselor?
And that is correct.
I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Steve Snyder, aye.
Dave Zimmerman, aye.
Jody Hamilton, I.
Dave Bathe, aye.
Walker, aye.
Fantastic. Do we need to have a motion to open up the meeting, or are we good to go?
We're good to go.
Thank you very much. Moving on underneath new business, the EDC resolution number 2021-01, the final action resolution for 631 Main. Since we've already heard and talked about it, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
This is Dave Bathe. I'll second then. Thanks.
Who made the motion?
Scott Walker.
Scott Walker first, Dave Bathe second. Is there any discussion? Any discussion?
Hey, Steve.
Yeah, go
Steve,
ahead.
one second. First of all, thank you, everybody. I appreciate your support on this project. I know Andy's done a great job, so I won't belabor that. But Cindy Murray, I just wanted to double check for the record. You have not received any public comment before during the meeting, correct?
Correct. I have not.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Steve, please proceed. I just wanted to get that on the record there.
No worries. Absolutely. All in favor, signify by saying aye. One at a time. Steve Snyder, I say aye.
Dave Zimmerman, aye.
Scott Walker, aye.
And Dave Bathe, aye.
And I believe I heard Jody say aye as well. Is that true?
Yes, that's true.
Is there anybody opposed? Hearing none, resolution 2021-01 passes. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
I move to adjourn.
Dave Zimmerman, second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye. Steve Snyder, aye.
Jody Hamilton, aye.
Dave Zimmerman, aye.
Scott Walker, aye.
And Dave Bathe, aye.
Very good, thank you. Do we need to stay on for the redevelopment commission meeting? I mean, we're more than welcome to, but we don't. Do we need to?
Or welcome to, but you don't have to.
Yeah, you're welcome to, but it's not necessary. Folks have other things they need to do.
All right.
Signing off.
Thank you
Thank you,
all.
everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Shall we start, Dennis, or you have some
Yes.
instructions you want to give to us?
We are ready to go. Got the agenda up, if you can see that.
Yes. So we want to say good afternoon and welcome to the March 25th meeting of the Lafayette Redevelopment Commission. We're meeting at it's not March 25th, it's March 29th, and we're meeting at 1:28 p.m. I see Jim and I saw Miss Shelley and I saw TJ and I saw Dave. So we have enough folks to do and take care of the business that we need to take care of, along with supporting Lafayette City staff members and all of the other professionals who are here. Let's remind each other that we need to do roll call votes. And if Cindy Murray would still assist us with that, we would be very happy for her to do so. We also have a public hearing as a part of our meeting as well, so we can quickly take care of that if we can by way of motions to close and reopen and all of that stuff. So our first item of business today are the minutes of the February 25th, 2021 meeting. Those minutes have been provided to us as commissioners. Are there any comments or questions or corrections? Hearing none, the chair would entertain a motion to approve the February 25th, 2021 minutes.
So moved.
Thank you, Jim,
Second.
and thank you. Is that Shelley or TJ? Who shall we take?
Whoever.
And it's Shelley. We'll just get your name on record right away. All right, and any further discussion? If not, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Dean,
Aye.
Henriette,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Holman.
Aye.
February 25th, 2021 minutes passed.
Thank you, Cindy. Continuing on, we have the opportunity for a public hearing on LRC 2021-06. May we have a motion to close the current meeting?
So moved.
In a second. Thank you. It's been moved and properly second. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Dean,
Aye.
Henriette,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Holman.
Aye.
Passed to close the meeting for public hearing.
And may we have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Michelle, you doing all right? Michelle, okay, she's tracking, okay. So we have a motion and we have a second. Roll call vote again, please. Thank you, Cindy. You're gonna do a lot of work today.
That's fine. Dean,
Aye.
Henriette,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Holman. Open for
Aye.
public hearing.
Thank you. So we have resolution LRC 2021-06. Mr. Carson, I know we just heard some related to this resolution, but this is on our agenda. Any additional comment lead in by you and or the professional expertise that we have on the line?
Turn it over to the professional expertise, Heather James.
Okay.
Thank you. I would just quickly note that the Redevelopment Commission met on December 17th, 2020 and approved the declaratory resolution related to this project. And at that time, the simple action that was taken was simply adding the project that Andy described in the earlier meeting to the economic development plan for this economic development area. And since that time, the other statutorily required steps have been taken. So now we are back before the Redevelopment Commission to hold the public hearing and adopt the confirmatory resolution confirming what was done on that December 17th date, which again is simply adding the project to the plan.
Thank you, Ms. James. Any questions related to the information we've heard? Mr. Carson, anyone else you want to speak?
No, just ask Cindy if she got any public comments.
There was no public comment received in my office.
Thank you. And Mr. Mayor, you want to say anything about this, or you're good as well?
I'm good, Josh, but thank you for asking.
Sure, you're welcome. Okay, any comments, questions from the commissioners? If not, hearing and understanding we have no public comment, we may close the public hearing by motion and second.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Jim and TJ. Without any further discussion, we'll have a roll call vote.
Dean,
Aye.
Henriette,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Holman.
Aye.
Public hearing's been closed.
Thank you. So we shall reopen our regular meeting for the Redevelopment Commission. And I think we're okay without a motion, but Jackie?
We are okay to proceed.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. All right, so first under new business, LRC 2021-06, the resolution that we've heard quite a bit about today. And if there is no further comment and no discussion, we can consider a motion for this resolution.
Motion to approve resolution number LRC 2021-06.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you. It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Dean,
Aye.
Henriette,
Aye.
Terry,
Aye.
Holman.
Aye.
Resolution 2021-06 passes 4-0.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. And thank you all for your work on that particular activity. We'll continue to move forward with our next item of business, Resolution 2021-07, where we want to pledge the tax increment. And I know this is part of what Dennis has had Jason already speak about, but Mr. Carson, you're still up. If there's any additional information.
Yes, I'm going to turn this over to Heather and Jason here. This resolution 07 here and 08 are both related, so I have to speak to both of these.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'll go first and then Jason can fill in with anything that he'd like to add. So the first resolution for consideration -07 is the resolution that pledges the TIF generated in both the consolidated central allocation area and the consolidated Creasy Lane allocation area to the repayment of the bonds for this project, so that as the TIF rolls in over the life of the bonds, the bond purchaser will be paid back from those TIF revenues. And this is the same approach that you've taken on all of your previous bonds that have been structured this way. So I'm sure you're familiar with this sort of pledge resolution. And then the next one, -08, the purpose of that resolution is to amend the existing taxpayer agreements that are related to those bonds Jason spoke about earlier that are being refinanced, just to be doubly sure that that refinancing that we're doing doesn't dilute the taxpayers' covenants under those existing taxpayer agreements, and those covenants will remain in place and keep those developers on the hook.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. James? Okay, Mr. Simler. Where are you? Oh, there. Still muted, Jason.
Sorry about that. Thank you. Heather's correct as she described that even though the Real Commission is pledging 100% of the TIF from both the areas, the size of the project, size of the bond, size of the incentive was based strictly on the amount of revenue that we think that's going to be generated from the project and the minimum payment that Andy has agreed to. So again, even though you're pledging 100% of the TIF from the two areas, there's going to be sufficient TIF from the development or the taxpayer payment to make the bond payment. And you won't have to use any existing TIF.
Thank you. Questions or comments for Jason Simler or Heather James? I have a minor question, y'all, just because I see language that I don't completely understand. On page 2, the last whereas, it talks about the city issuing the economic development subordinate revenue and refunding bonds, but it says pursuant to a trust indenture, and that's between the city and Old National.
Yes, so Old National is the bond trustee for this financing. So Old National will hold all of the funds. So once the bond purchaser wires in the dollars to buy the bonds, then those funds will be held there by Old National, and that trust indenture is the document that governs the relationship between that bond trustee and the city and tells that trustee how to disperse those funds, basically.
Thank you. And your answer immediately clarified part of what I didn't understand, not just the wording, but if the bonds had already been bid or not. I know what Jason said about the interest rate, but I didn't think we had heard anything about the bonds being bid and who was going to actually be the bond purchaser. So I was kind of curious about that. So it's not Old National for sure.
That's correct. That's correct. The bond sale, I'll let Jason speak to the bond sale, but it is technically being finally negotiated the day after the council takes action. So I'll let Jason speak to that.
I don't have to know any more details. I appreciate it. I don't want to prolong our meeting, but that what you said is helpful. So thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Any other questions by commissioners? If not, is there a motion for LRC 2021-07?
I move we approve resolution number 2021-7.
Thank you, Shelley. Thank you, Jim. Any further discussion? May we have a roll call vote, please?
Dean,
Aye.
Henriette,
Aye.
Harry,
Aye.
Holman.
Aye.
Resolution 2021-07 passes 4-0.
Thank you very much. So continuing with our business, we have resolution 2021-08, which was just referenced in terms of a presentation. Any further information, comments or questions about this particular resolution? Hearing none, the chair would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve resolution number 2021-08.
Thank you, Jim.
Second.
Thank you, Shelley. Any further discussion or comments? Hearing none, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Dean,
Aye.
Henriette,
Aye.
Harry,
Aye.
Holman.
Aye.
Resolution 2021-08 passes 4-0.
Thank you. So we get to move those projects forward in terms of our work for those resolutions, and things will go to the city council, I apologize, and we'll continue from there. The next item of business is resolution 2021-09. We're talking about a tax abatement for Whitenack and Brothers LLC. Mr. Carson?
Yes, if you remember, probably a little more than a year ago, we were approached by Brittany Whitenack and the Antique Candle Company, and they explained to us a major increase in their business and they were going to make some new investments and new facilities and such, and we granted them a tax abatement. Well, here we are now a year later, and Brittany's back, and she's got some more exciting news for us and a tax abatement request. So I'm going to turn it over to Brittany to explain what's going on with her company and her request.
Thank you, Dennis, and thank everybody for giving us some time and your consideration here. My name is Brittany. I'm the owner of Antique Candle Co. And we are now in our new building, that 1611 Skylar, which was an old dairy plant built in 1950, and it's really exciting. During COVID, we're an e-commerce business, and basically we manufacture candles and we ship them all over the US and Canada. So everybody in the world found themselves at home, and they decided they needed a candle to burn at home. So our business grew a lot, which was a huge blessing, but it was an immense amount of growth that we had not forecasted for several years. So about in the summertime, when everyone was still at home, we basically knew we were renovating this building, we were going to move into it, but we were trying to figure out what to do because we hired almost 40 people last year. And we're like, where are we going to put all these people? What are we going to do with all this production? And so the abatement that I'd love for you guys to consider is for 1701 Skylar. So it's actually the bowling alley, formerly known as Star Lanes or Mustang Alley most recently, is actually our next door neighbor. And so the business owner had closed the business temporarily because of COVID. And several months later, made the announcement that they were permanently closing the business. And then shortly after that, they put the building up for sale. And a few months after that is when we thought maybe we could make it work for our business. So we closed on the building right before the new year. And we have plans to basically renovate that building and make it a really cool additional workspace, so almost like an Antique Candle Co. Google campus over here on Schuyler Avenue. So the abatement is we're expecting to do about $750,000 worth of improvements. And we're applying for a 10-year tax abatement. The reason we're applying for a tax abatement is because originally when we bought the building, we thought it'd be more of our shipping and raw material storage, and we'd keep production in the main building we're in now. The bowling alley is about 22,000 square feet. So we're actually wanting to move our production, which is our candle making part of the company, into the bowling alley, keep it really big. And actually many of you came and saw the bowling alley. We had started the demo process just to see what is kind of above the drop ceiling. So I don't know if you guys know, there's that big dome ceiling above the bowling alley. So when you opened up all that drop ceiling, there's actually these beautiful wood rafters. So there's so much cool architectural elements to the bowling alley that no one has seen since they built it in 1950. So we were super excited about that. So we're going to maintain that. Our plan is to invest about $50,000 in landscaping on the entire property, putting a nice buffer yard behind for the residential area as well. New lighting fixtures, bathrooms completely renovated, offices renovated, still having that vintage industrial feel that is consistent with our current building. And then also too, the outside, the painting. I'd love to paint both buildings so that they kind of match. They're beautiful. Right now, it's kind of got those bowling alley colors that you're all used to seeing when you drive by Schuyler Avenue. This project, we're expected to complete in around July 30th, 2023. So this one will take a little bit longer for us to do. But we currently have 62 employees, and this would create 11 additional full-time jobs at an average hourly rate of $20 an hour. We do offer health benefits for employees now, which I'm really excited about. So these 11 full-time employees would be eligible for that as well. So yeah, I think that's all I had. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Dennis, feel free to elaborate further.
Sure. Brittany, would you just tell us, I think when we first met you with the first abatement, how many employees you had then and how many now that you said you're going to add an additional 11, is that correct?
So last year when we applied for a tax abatement for 1611, I think we had 31 or 32 employees. I'm trying to look for that paperwork. And I was expecting to hire maybe 12, 13 And we hired 23 full-time employees and I think 11 or 12 part-time employees. I'll be presenting that in the update since we had an abatement for that. So these numbers are kind of guesstimates off of memory. But we hired, I think, triple or quadruple what we were expecting to last year, which is pretty awesome. Fun fact, one of the employees that we hired last year used to work at the bowling alley. So it's like full circle for her because she's going to be back in the same building. It was amazing because she can tell me where all the roof leaks were, you know, so we can fix those up and everything. But I just think that's kind of cool. So.
Fun fact, Brittany also stole one of City of Lafayette's employees too.
Yes, Megan is awesome. This is her 3rd day and we're so excited to have her here. It's awesome. She's great.
Yeah, she's an awesome person. So great for you.
Well, thank you so much for your presentation, Brittany. And are there questions and or other comments, including Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Josh. Yes, I would appreciate the board's support of this resolution. Brittany has done a great job. You know, it's good to be able to help a local small business. We do a lot of these projects for really big companies, and it's really great to do this for a locally owned small business that her and her staff, a lot of enthusiasm. I had to go through the facility a couple of weeks ago, and we just wish them all the best. And we certainly want to be as big a part of making those realities as possible. So I would appreciate the commission's vote on this resolution.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Hearing none, let's consider the resolution in terms of a motion, and remember that it is for real property, correct, as opposed to real estate? Looks like it's for real property, Dennis, and we are looking at 10 years.
Motion to approve resolution number 2021-09 for real property.
Second.
Okay, let's clarify it. Jackie, it is, real property is at the top, but real estate is in the last whereas.
The terms are interchangeable.
Okay.
It means the same thing. Yeah.
Fantastic. I'm sorry. Thank you. There's been a motion and a second. Are there any other questions or comments? Hearing none, may we have a roll call vote?
Team,
Aye.
Henriette,
Aye.
Perry,
Aye.
and Holman.
Aye.
Resolution 2021-09 passes 4-0.
Thank you, Cindy Mary, and
Thank you.
congratulations to you, Brittany. You're welcome, and
Thank
good
you so
luck in your new
much.
venture. Sure, you are very welcome. Okay, we have another item to consider, RLR Associates, some wayfinding signage and design services agreement, I think for the new safety building. Mr. Carson. Muted too. Dennis, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry about that. Again, this is related to our public safety facility, and this is for signage, wayfinding, and branding and design services with RLR Associates. We have Rod Reed on the line here, so I'm going to turn it over to him, explain a little bit about his company and the actual contract and services that will be provided.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Mayor and Commissioners, for this opportunity to introduce our company and the services that we're proposing for the Lafayette Public Safety Facility. RLR Associates is a 26-year-old firm that I am the principal of, that we have been in the business of developing branding as well as wayfinding and environmental graphics and experiential graphics systems. And that basically includes wayfinding signage, as well as other kinds of devices that help direct people from one point to another. And we've had a great opportunity to work just across the river there at Purdue University. We were the design firm that did Mackey Arena for their wayfinding and signage program, just to mention something that's close to you. This particular agreement was for, as I mentioned, the public safety facility, and we're working very closely with Core Strategies, and Deb Kuntz is on the Zoom meeting with us today. So we're working in conjunction with them as architect and designers for the building. Our particular piece is, if you will, an overlay piece that adds to and enhances the user experience in the building. The services cover everything from identity signage on the outside of the building, parking lot signage within the parking facility, and then going interior wise, we would do room identity as well as any kind of directories in the building. And in addition to that, there would be components that would be of an artistic nature that would provide some level of, if you will, art or opportunities for theming throughout the building. So that is what the project entails. And the total fee for the project, all inclusive, is $76,620. And I'd be more than happy to take any questions and try to answer any concerns you might have. And I don't know, Deb, if you want to add any kind of a comment, given that obviously we work pretty closely with you in the building.
Yep, no, just want to add maybe a few clarifying comments. We've had good experience with Rod when we worked on Lugar Plaza in Indianapolis, and obviously his work at Purdue is legendary as well. One clarifying point I do want to make is that Core Planning Strategies is the owner's rep, that American Structure Point is the architect of record on this project. So while we are facilitating this information, the designer is actually American Structure Point, just for public record.
Thank you, Deb. And thank you, Mr. Reed, as well, for your presentation. Any comments, Mr. Mayor or Dennis?
We're excited about the public safety building, as you know, and working with RLR Associates, we think is another good step as we work to bring that final project, get it to where we want it to be, and hopefully construction will start here in the next couple months. So we have not worked with RLR before, and we're very much looking forward to establishing a relationship with them and moving forward with them on this project.
Thank you. Any questions from the commissioners? I probably have a minor question that maybe there's not a good answer for as we consider the full work. Well, two questions. One, I would presume that there will be some type of digital signage included in this whole project. Are we looking in that direction, Mr. Reed?
Currently, there have been some discussion about digital signage. Typically, digital signage may be handled more by the IT side of the house, if you will. And so our work is going to be pretty much things that have to do with either public facing or movement through the building. Digital signage is certainly something that we often get involved in, but at this point, we've not had any discussion about any kind of digital messaging for the building as a part of our scope.
So let me, Mr. Commissioner, let me weigh in here. So that scope is really falling under the audiovisual package that is being contemplated for the project. And so there's a number of video screens that are being planned throughout the building that has opportunities for that to happen. In terms of digital signage, it's a program. And so you can go everywhere from the free program to the very high level program. And so we're trying to find the right balance of that. But Rod is actually absolutely right. That falls in the IT/AV category for this project.
Thank you, Deb. And you probably may be the person to answer the second question as soon as Mr. Reed started talking, and or maybe Dennis. So I support this, no issues there. Curiosity says we're spending about $75,000 on design, et cetera, about how much signage, what's in the budget for the signage? We're talking another $250,000, $300,000 or less than that?
You are really good at this. It is $250,000 is what we have set aside right now for the physical production of and installation of the branding.
Okay, thank you. Again, just curiosity, just curious. Any other questions from the commissioners? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion for RLR in terms of the agreement that we are looking at today? Okay, is everybody mic'd up, or there really is no motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, TJ.
Thank you, T.
Second.
Thank you, Shelley. It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion, comments, questions? Now's the time to ask. Okay, hearing none, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Beam,
Aye.
Henriot,
Aye.
Terry.
Can't leave, Cindy.
Oh, he did? Oh, okay.
Okay.
And Josh Holman.
Aye.
Okay. Agreement with RLR Associates passes 3-0.
Thank you. So congratulations to you, Mr. Reed, and we'll look forward to seeing your work.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to myself and excited about your new project, and look forward to hopefully meeting all or a few of you as we work through the project. Thank you again.
You're welcome. Okay, Mr. Carson, Director's Report.
Sure, as you can see, we've been quite busy. A lot of things going on with the police station parking garage and new developments downtown. It just keeps on going, and we're really thankful for that. So just real quick, and right now, actually, we have part of the team downstairs in my office. So as soon as we get done with this, we get right back into it. So we have ASI and core planning strategies there downstairs right now. We're going to be working more on the police station project. Also, just want to invite you. Today is the grand opening and dedication of Lowe Stadium. So it's a pretty exciting project that we're just finishing up, and that's at 4 o'clock. So I invite everybody out to come out for that today. And that's all I have, unless you have questions.
Any questions for Mr. Carson? Thank you, Dennis, for your report, and we will file that appropriately with the minutes. The next item of business are the claims for March 2021. The claims were presented to us. Are there any questions related to the claims prior to the motion? Hearing none, is there a motion regarding the claims?
I motion to approve the claims of $1,460,233.06.
Second.
Thank you, TJ and Shelley. Any further comment? If not, we'll have a roll call vote. You're unmuting, Cindy.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Beam,
Aye.
Henriot,
Aye.
Holman.
Aye.
Claims approved, 3-0.
Fantastic. Thank you. And Mrs. Murray, as we talk about this, I would presume there's been no further public comment regarding to this meeting whatsoever.
You are correct.
And is there any public comment from anyone who's in the meeting? I think I see all staff, but I could be wrong. Okay. Okay. I believe that concludes the business for today, according to my agenda. That's correct, right, Dennis? Yes. Okay. So we have a motion to adjourn and a roll call vote, and we'll be all set.
Motion to
So
adjourn.
moved.
Yes.
Second.
TJ and Shelley. So yes, go ahead.
Beam,
Aye.
Aye.
Holman.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you all so much for your time today, especially being on a special day. Have a good rest of the afternoon and enjoy your time.
You all.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Aye.
Mhm.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone.